Welcome back to Speak More Fluently. Ever listen to someone speaking English and think, wow, they just sound so natural?
Yeah, it's a really common observation.
It's more than just knowing the vocabulary, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
something about the flow.
Exactly. It's how the words connect.
Well, today we're going to try and unlock that secret for you. We're doing a deep dive into how native English speakers, often without even thinking about it, group words together.
It's often called rhythmic chunking.
Rhythmic chunking, right. And honestly, getting a handle on this is going to make you so much easier to understand. Plus, I think it gives your speaking confidence a real lift.
Oh, definitely. It smooths things out.
Think of it like the hidden rhythm in English speech. Stick with us, and we'll give you some really practical ways to start using this, like, right away.
So it's interesting you mentioned rhythm. Language really does have a musicality to it.
It does. How so?
Well, think about music. You can know all the notes, right? But it's how you phrase them, the rhythm, that creates the actual tune.
Okay. I see the connection.
And English is similar. We don't just say word after word after word. We naturally bundle them into these meaningful little groups, these chunks.
And then that's the rhythmic chunking you mentioned.
That's it. It's the key to sounding fluent and just communicating clearly.
Can you give an example?
Sure, take a simple sentence. You could say, I am going to Sarap the store. Very separate.
Sounds a bit robotic, yeah.
Right. But naturally, we'd say something like, I'm going to the store. See those groupings. I'm going is one chunk. To the store is another.
Much smoother. Flows better.
Exactly. It's all about those intuitive groups.
And native speakers just do this without thinking.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's often a real sticking point for learners, and it connects right back to the basic structure of English.
How so? What's the connection?
Well, English is what we call a stress-timed language.
Stress-timed. Okay, what does that mean?
It means the rhythm is built around the stressed syllables. They tend to pop up at fairly regular intervals, like a beat. And the unstressed syllables, they sort of squeeze in between those beats. They get shorter, less distinct sometimes.
So not every syllable gets the same amount of time.
Precisely. It's quite different from, say, syllable-timed languages, where each syllable gets roughly equal weight. Understanding this beat and how we group words around those main stress points, that's crucial for getting that natural English sound.
Okay, that makes sense. We've got the what, this chunking idea, and the why, because English is stress-timed. So let's talk benefits. What's in it for someone working on their English? What are the actual advantages?
Oh, the advantages are pretty significant. First off, comprehension. For the listener, I mean.
Right, they understand you better.
Much better. When you speak in these natural chunks, your message is just easier to process. People aren't mentally trying to piece together single words. They're hearing whole ideas.
That sounds like a huge plus. What else?
Your pronunciation improves a lot. It makes your speech sound less stilted, less robotic, more like a native speaker's flow.
More natural, yeah.
And this is a big one for many people, it really boosts your confidence.
How does it do that?
Because speaking in chunks reduces hesitation. You know, those little pauses while you search for the next word. Chunking helps bridge those gaps, makes your delivery feel smoother, more fluent.
Less stopping and starting.
Exactly. You feel more in control.
Okay, better comprehension, better pronunciation, more confidence. Those are definitely strong reasons to pay attention to this. So these chunks, what do they actually look like? Are there specific types of word groups we should listen out for?
Yeah, definitely. There are several common patterns or categories, you could say. One really important type is collocations.
Collocations. Okay, define that for us.
They're basically words that just habitually go together. They sound natural as a pair or group. Like you make a decision, you don't really do a decision.
Right, make a decision just sounds correct.
Or think about strong coffee. We don't usually say a powerful coffee, even though it means something similar. Strong coffee is the standard collocation.
Got it. These word buddies that hang out together.
Exactly. They've become conventional pairings over time. Often it's about, which words fit together grammatically or semantically in a way that just works in English.
Okay, collocations. What other types of chunks are common?
Phrasal verbs are another huge category.
Ah, yes. Everyone's favorite challenge.
Yeah, they can be tricky. But they're everywhere. Things like give up, look after, run into, a verb plus a preposition or adverb, creating a new meaning.
And you treat them as one unit.
You really have to. They function as a single chunk of meaning. You can't usually separate them without losing the sense. look after the cat is one idea.
Okay, so recognizing phrasal verbs as chunks is key. Makes sense. What else?
Then you've got idiomatic expressions, idioms.
Like break the ice.
Exactly. Or
Okay.
hit the sack, spill the beans, phrases where the meaning isn't literal. You can't figure it out just by knowing the individual words.
Right, the whole phrase means something different.
And because of that, we almost always say them as one complete chunk. They're like memorized units representing a single figurative idea.
Little packages of meaning, yeah. You learn them and use them whole.
Precisely. And one more category, fixed expressions.
Fixed expressions.
These are the really standard phrases we use in specific situations. How are you? Nice to meet you. See you later.
Ah, the everyday greetings and farewells.
Exactly. We rattle those off as complete units almost without thinking. Unbroken chunks.
Okay, so we've got collocations, phrasal verbs, idioms, and these fixed expressions. That gives us a good map of what to look for. Now, the practical side. How can listeners actually start, doing this, using chunks more in their own speaking? Any techniques?
Yeah, there are some really effective ways to practice. One popular one is shadowing.
Shadowing, like following someone.
Kind of. You listen to a native speaker, maybe a short audio clip, and you try to speak along with them, imitating them as closely as possible, almost simultaneously.
Okay.
The key isn't just repeating the words, though. It's really focusing on their rhythm, their intonation, and where they group words together. Where are the little pauses? Where do words link smoothly?
So you find some audio, listen, replay, and try to match their flow.
Exactly. It trains your ear and your mouth at the same time. Another really useful thing is to actively chunk written texts.
How does that work?
You take a piece of writing an article, a paragraph from a book, and you physically mark it up. Draw lines or slashes where you think the natural pauses or chunk boundaries would be.
Like breaking it down visually?
Yeah. For instance, she decided to take a walk in the park after dinner. You identify those meaningful groups based on grammar or meaning.
And
Then you practice reading it aloud, making slight pauses at those marks you made. It helps you internalize the feel of speaking in chunks.
that makes it feel more concrete, I guess, less abstract.
It does. Recording yourself is also incredibly powerful.
Oh, the dreaded listen to yourself exercise.
Yeah. It can be revealing. But listen to yourself speak, then listen to a native speaker saying something similar. Compare the rhythm. Where are you pausing differently? Are you stressing individual words too much instead of the whole chunk?
And then you try again.
Yep.
Re-record. It builds that self-awareness, helps you pinpoint exactly what needs work.
Okay, that sounds like a solid feedback loop. Any other tips?
We'll link to chunking text. You can use visual aids like brackets, too. When you read, maybe mentally or physically bracket the chunks. I'm going to the store to buy some groceries. It just helps reinforce that idea of words belonging together in groups.
These are all really practical things people can try. It's not just theory. So how do we make this part of, everyday life? Not just a practice exercise.
Good question. It's about integrating it. Make reading aloud a regular habit. Not just reading silently, but actually speaking the words. Articles, books, whatever. Focus on finding that natural flow, those pauses, the stress within the sentences.
So activating the speaking muscles while reading.
Right. And active listening is crucial. When you hear English movies, TV shows, podcasts like this one, conversations really tune your ear into the chunking. Listen for it. How are people grouping their words? You'll start hearing the patterns everywhere once you pay attention.
Just raising your awareness makes a difference. A huge difference. And don't forget music. Songs are fantastic for rhythm and intonation.
How so?
Well, lyrics naturally follow musical phrasing and stress. Singing along, even just listening closely, helps you feel the rhythm of English in a really engaging way.
That sounds more fun than just drills.
It can be. And ultimately, the best practice is just talking. Engage in conversations. Try to consciously apply chunking as you speak with others. It gets easier with practice.
It's like building muscle memory for your speech. Now, you mentioned rhythm and intonation. Does this go beyond just sounding fluent? Does it affect meaning or anything else?
Oh, absolutely. Rhythm and intonation carry a lot of subtle information. Cultural nuances, emotions, politeness. It's all tied in.
Really? Like what?
Well, think about questions. Often, a rising intonation at the end of a phrase signals a question or maybe uncertainty, right?
Yeah, like you're coming versus you're coming.
Exactly. Or emphasizing certain words within a chunk can show enthusiasm or importance or urgency. I really need to go. Sounds different from I really need to go. The rhythm and stress change the feeling.
Ah, okay. So being aware of that helps you understand better and also express yourself more precisely.
Definitely. It makes your communication much richer and helps you connect better, especially with native speakers who are subconsciously picking up on those cues.
That's fascinating. It adds another layer to it all. What about challenges? What do learners typically struggle with when they try to adopt this rhythmic chunking?
Well, one common thing is speaking in a bit of a monotone, flat delivery, not much variation in pitch.
Right, where everything sounds the same.
Yeah. The fix there is consciously practicing varying your intonation, letting your voice rise and fall naturally within those chunks. Another issue is putting too much emphasis on every single word.
Like reading.
A list. Kind of, yeah. It disrupts the flow. The trick is to focus on the rhythm of the whole chunk, letting the unstressed words be lighter and quicker.
Focus on the flow, not the individual bricks.
Good analogy. And sometimes, honestly, it's just a lack of awareness. People haven't really noticed these patterns before. That's why regular exposure to natural native speech is so important. You need to hear it consistently to internalize it.
So it really sounds like a journey. Developing awareness, practicing specific techniques, and then hopefully it starts to become more automatic.
That's exactly it. Mastering rhythmic chunking isn't an overnight thing.
Right.
But putting in the effort consistently, it pays off. You start grouping words more naturally, you embrace that English rhythm,
And the result.
you sound more fluent, definitely more natural, and as we said, that confidence just grows.
That's a really positive way to frame it. So if there's one key takeaway, it's that English, like music, isn't just about the individual notes, the words. It's about how you play them together.
Beautifully put. It's finding the rhythm, the phrasing.
Letting the language flow. So here's a thought for everyone listening today. As you go about your day, really listen to the English you hear around you. Actively try to notice those natural word groupings, the chunks people use without a second thought, and just start thinking. How could you bring a bit more of that rhythm into your own speaking?
Yeah, just noticing is the first step.
It's a small shift in focus, but it really could change how you sound and how confident you feel when you speak English.